right. Should be live. You there, Michael?
Hey.
Hey.
Is my face frozen?
No, not anymore. Now it's good. I got it.
Like, Michael?
So now we're both centered.
Gosh.
I'm a little bit bigger than you because you're kind of far away.
Yeah.
You gotta like tilt your screen down if you can.
Like this?
Yeah.
That?
Like that. A little bit more down. Yep, right there. Lit.
There we go. Perfect.
Sweet. All right. Well, now we got the stream all up, and it's time to talk about some NFL football, America's greatest pastime.
2 seconds.
That's it. What is that? Your Steelers?
Steelers.
Go Steelers.
Hey. Go Steelers. The entire team. Whatchamacallit, stay in the hallway during the national anthem. But you know what? It's fucking yeah. I mean, I like the
Villanueva,
team, but the players are not my.
I like Villanueva. I was thinking about buying one of his jerseys, but
yeah, I've got Palomalu in my whatchamacallit.
But yeah, your entire team sat. So did mine. The Broncos, they sat too.
Yeah, exactly.
At least some of them did. What's it called? Von Miller for the Broncos. Like, one of the Broncos' like best players. I forgot who it was, but one of his sponsors dropped him because he sat during, or he kneeled during the anthem. So.
Yeah. I think Kaepernick's sponsor dropped him too. The NFL.
The NFL, yeah, they dropped him. What's it called? Villanueva, the Steeler that stood when everybody else didn't. He apologized because he said that he threw his team under the bus and he felt bad and he didn't want to he didn't want to be like that.
The country under the bus.
Yeah, now he did, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But that kind of disappointed me. I was very proud of him, and then he was like, "Yeah, I threw my team under the bus."
I was like, dang, that guy served what 2 or 3 tours in Afghanistan, and then 3 tours in Afghanistan, and then during the national anthem. But I mean, they have the right to do it. I just checked the on timemagazine.com. I don't know why it's a magazine anymore, but on time.com they have an excerpt that says during the national anthem, players on the field and bench area should stand in attention and face the flag, hold helmets in their left hand, and refrain from talking.
Says should. That's the thing.
Or you have to. I guess in this case it's just like burn the flag type thing.
Yeah.
Where you can just like.
It's freedom of speech, but like. It's our freedom of speech to get upset with you.
Yeah, exactly.
The only thing is, this is probably.
Say or do whatever you want.
Yeah, it's like, the one thing that I think is, being an NFL player, that's your job. You think of it as a place of business. You're employed by your coach to be playing for the people. Yeah, you're being paid by a coach who is owned by an owner who is owned by the NFL. You're a player. You're the whole point of you being an athlete. Basically, you're literally they just say go on the field and hit some people.
You're an actor.
You're a gladiator. You're for entertainment purposes. That's what you're for. That's why you have that job, because you're entertaining and you're good at what you do. Sometimes.
The Firehouse Subs, you know how we.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you're in the middle of Walmart.
We all say like welcome to Firehouse, and I just sit there like. nope. The protesting.
Yeah, they'll be like, you need to say
Right.
it. And you'd be like, no, it's my
It's
freedom
part
of
of the
speech
job.
to not say it. Yeah, they'll just be like, okay, then you're gone. We'll find somebody who will say it. That's what the
Right.
NFL
You
needs
even
to do.
hire the next guy in line. There's like hundreds of people that are
Yeah. Do
willing
you
to
know
so
how many players, college players, would love to be in the NFL
would
right
love to
now?
be on the Steelers football team or the
Do you
Patriots
know how
or
many?
the
And
Bills,
yeah,
So,
and it's just it's your freedom of speech, but I'm not gonna go and
I,
I'm not gonna
you can say whatever you
protest.
want.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go and protest the American flag while I'm at work. I'll do that on my own time if I wanted to do that, or I wanted to protest, say, whatever I wanted to protest. I'm not gonna protest it in my restaurant. I'm gonna go out and do it, or do it online. I'm not gonna straight up do it at my place of work so that everybody that comes in can be like, we don't want your food, because maybe that person agrees with whatever I'm
Well,
protesting
the,
against. And it's just alienating their audience.
they're cutting out an entire section of the country because it's a national football league, and I mean, I'd say based on my experience is that most conservatives watch football, right? So like diehard American fans,
They've
and
lost
like
they've lost 11
right,
points in ratings
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
because
So
of this week.
I mean, I started boycotting the NFL
I'm
too.
boycotting them. Yeah, I'm not watching the NFL
Um,
anymore.
yeah, exactly. And I mean, they can say whatever they want, but doesn't mean there's not going to be any repercussions for doing it.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
Trump could come out and say something, doesn't mean there's going to be any repercussions for it. Like if I come out and say, hey, I don't like black people, like you say that, and doesn't like I can say it, but it doesn't mean that like
yeah. People
shit's
are.
gonna go
Yeah,
down.
you could
Like
lose your
I could
job
lose like
for
50% of my friends,
it.
my job,
Yeah,
So
exactly. You can say
so
whatever you want. Just like you can say,
yeah,
"Hey, I'm going to, you know, burglarize somebody's house."
like
Yes, you're free to say that. They're gonna arrest you. They're or at least call you in to question you. You can say whatever you want. There's consequences for anything you say.
yeah,
It's just it's freedom of speech, but the rest of us have our freedom of speech if we disagree with you to say that we disagree with you.
yeah, exactly.
So my
And
freedom of speech does
like
not end where yours begins.
or yours, yeah, exactly. And like I said earlier, you know how Kaepernick was protesting like the white supremacy of America and everything
Yeah,
by protesting the flag and national anthem.
right.
Um, like I said, the coach was white, the owner of the team is white, the heads of the or multiple of the heads of the NFL itself are white, and
Parents that raised him are white.
they him, what was it, $20 million or something like that a
$20
year or a
million
season?
a year.
Yeah,
Yep.
but it's a super white supremacist racist system because yeah, that's crazy. They all the white dudes in the corporate of the NFL really suck at being racist.
Yeah, they're doing a great job. They're doing a great job.
They would get an E for effort from the KKK.
Yeah. What's it called? It's just there's a big racial divide, between everybody. This is, when I grew up, I don't mean to sound old, but when I grew up, I didn't look at any kid differently because of this color of his skin. I judged him on whether he was a jerk or whether he was, a cool kid. I didn't
He's an
care.
asshole. You don't hang out with him.
Yeah, exactly.
If
I'm not gonna be like,
he
oh, he
break
has a
out
different
and he threw
color
sand in
skin
your
than
face,
me.
you'd be like,
Yeah, I'm not gonna be like he has a different color skin than me,
yeah,
and it's not like I was younger, so I didn't believe like, oh, he was had a different political belief than me, because we were like
exactly.
kids, we
You
didn't
didn't like
know anything.
SpongeBob.
You didn't, yeah. If you didn't like SpongeBob, or say like you didn't have a cool bike, maybe
Yeah,
maybe that's the discrimination we have against you,
yeah,
but we didn't discriminate against
yeah.
color.
Like a global scale.
Yeah, I I don't get it. I think it's become a thing now, and it's not even. It's not like this big
It's like
epidemic as
it's
people make it out to be.
yeah, it's like it's not a mainstream thing to be racist.
Yeah,
Like it's
a very
2017.
a
You
very
know,
small amount
half
of
the people
people.
that half the people in the United States like have switched their gender by the age of 13, and
That's true.
like you don't know, you know, like you can't really like just come out and say, oh my god, all these white people are racist, all these black people are, you know, they're anti. It's retarded.
Yeah,
But anyway, like in the NFL, I'm pretty sure
60% of them
like
are white.
there's a brotherhood to a team, right? So if you if you go against your brotherhood, I guess like in this case in the Steelers team, I mean he would kind of feel like alienated. Of course, he would feel alienated. He probably maybe have under the table gotten low key like threats from someone else saying, "Hey, you know, you're the only person that stood up during the national anthem. You're supposed to
Yeah,
be with the team." Blah blah blah. And if you don't be with the team, you're fired or something like that.
right.
Um,
What's it called? Ben Roethlisberger regretted not going out during the
yeah,
national anthem. He
like
regretted it, and he openly stated that he regretted it because
which is good.
it's it's not right. I mean,
It's a
the
part of like even though if it's like a statement, it's still a part of like the NFL tradition. You know, going back to the
right.
Leatherheads back in what was it, 1955? Yeah, I have a little Steelers pennant. It is from 1955 all the way up to 2005. That's the last time I bought it, or that's when I bought it. But it's
Yeah.
crazy.
What's it called? Um, the whole kneeling thing started with Kaepernick, but it was against police brutality, and now it's not really against police brutality. Uh, when it started off with Kaepernick, people were wondering like why are you doing this and stuff, and he was saying like I don't want to stand for a flag and a national anthem that like openly oppresses black people. I don't know the exact quote. I can try to find it so I don't misquote him or anything. Um, Let me see. How do you spell his name? Yeah, Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's you have the right to do what you as you please, of course. You know, but you don't have the right to. I mean, it's kind of a double-edged sword. You have the right
Yeah,
to dishonor your country in that way, of course, but yet you don't have the moral. I mean, it would go against my moral, of course. I mean, I don't know if it aligns with their moral or
yeah.
etc. etc.
So
But
this is his quote. This is from August 27th, 2016. This is the preseason from last year. He said, um, "I am not going to stand up to show pride in a flag for a country that oppresses black people and people of color. To me, this is bigger than football, and it would be selfish on my part to look the other way. There are bodies in the street and people getting paid leave and getting away with murder."
well, let's do some statistic research and see what okay. Let's see here. I'm doing some deep research.
All right. Well, while you're looking it up, I'm just gonna say what I was gonna say. Um,
Gotcha.
he started off with it being against police brutality, right? So now others have picked it up. Others picked it up last year, but at the beginning of this year, more and more picked it up. And now this past week, after Trump, kind of denounced it and called for them to get those SOBs fired, they got all upset about it, and so then over 100 of them decided that they were going to, uh, kneel or sit or not show up or lock arms in solidarity and stuff like that. Um, and the Jags, our hometown, they did it and they posted on their Twitter with the Jags owner or with Shad Khan, like locking arms, and they posted it with the title Unity. Um,
Hmm.
and what's it called? The Now that they're doing that, um, they're more of doing it, I guess, in spite of the president because of his comments he made in his Huntsville speech, where he called, get those SOBs fired for
Yeah.
not standing during the national anthem, and basically like being a like sacrilege against the flag. Um, because a lot of people, including myself, including you, hold the flag, you know, sacred. Basically, we hold it with the utmost. I don't know the word for it. Utmost.
Was what?
I can't think of I can't think of a word. we hold it up high. Basically, we hold it we
Yeah.
hold it up high.
We
And
have the flag at high regard. Yeah.
yeah, the people fought and died for that flag, and people, the families of those servicemen and women, police officers, everybody, the people that are survived by those heroes take a very big hit, um, from from people that decided that they're just going to openly sit out
Exactly.
during the national anthem, which is what that flag and that national anthem is what those people fought for,
Exactly.
is to serve the country.
And literally, the national anthem like describes the birth of, of our country,
It
pretty
won't
much.
no. It's from 1812, but close
I know,
enough.
but it describes the essence of like being an
Yes,
American, of
yes,
course.
being bombarded
Exactly. Yeah.
and be having the fort
Literally,
under attack, and then in the morning
America.
the flag is still
Yeah.
there.
America emerging out of all this chaos, and so
Alex Anderson wrote, "F the NFL." Thanks, Alex. Way to put that on our stream. Did you donate?
I have no idea.
No, he just commented. I still
Um,
have. I just realized I still have the text in. But I'm just saying,
I got you.
I should probably turn that off.
Apparently, I was in 2015. Let's see here. That's from the FBI. I don't want the FBI. I always want local. Washington Times. Black suspects are more at risk because of um, their demographical area. Sorry, um, based on like different parts of the country, of course. If you have a high majority, let's see. Actually, I had just had it up. Um, what? There we go. Okay, so if there's 50, based on the governing and states and local localities.com, governing.com/gov, safety and justice section. Um, percent of a white population, 32.9% have are white officers or have white officers in proportion. For Hispanic areas, 26.1%. If they're Hispanic, have a 28.8% Hispanic population share. And um, actually no, I got the numbers messed up. Sorry. If there's 28% of the population, 26% of the population for Hispanics are officers, and for the black population, 22% of the population, or 22%. Sorry, The black population is 22.6%. 16.1% of that is black officers,
Okay.
depending on where you live. So,
Right.
because there's a direct like proportion to how many people are in an area given the race. So
Right.
if you have our country has a majority of white people, of course. So there's going to be a majority of white officers. If you have, that's why they call white people a majority and black people a minority.
Right.
It's just common sense, right? So, but if you live in the projects, say, and you have a higher chance of encountering a black officer than you do a white officer, depending
Correct.
because of the
The
area you have a
demographics.
higher concentration of black population. So
Correct.
if you're in Detroit and you're in the rough part, it's kind of a stereotype. It's kind of a stereotype, but if you're in the rough part of the area, you have a higher chance of encountering a black officer.
Sure.
So in the high crime areas like Detroit, like Chicago, I would assume New York City has. Let's see here. New York City Police Department total minority police share is only 48%, and in reference to their minority population share, which is actually 67.2%. So um, percentage point difference, give or take 18% given the year, of course. Um, but that's still pretty high. I mean, it is New York City. It's a cosmopolitan city in the United States that has a high population, both minorities and majorities, of course, because there's like a million people living in New York City.
Right.
But but when you have like it shows that there's kind of like a skewed statistic based on where you live. Like if you say that all cops are targeting black people, or like, or you're saying, or if you just say that all black people are cop killers, that's even more inaccurate too, because
Correct.
based on where you live. And I'm not saying like a band of go into like a proportionally a minority area and just target black people. Of course, that's actually horrible, but
Yeah.
um, based on the facts,
Well,
it's it's it's
I
it's pretty much common sense too.
yeah. I saw something yeah that said last year, it was either last year or 2015, 16 unarmed black people were shot by police.
Mm.
Also that same year, over 2,000 black people were shot by other black people and killed. But you see, like, the left doesn't want to talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
They'd
Yeah,
rather
exactly.
talk about,
If you have,
an unarmed black person, which they have every reason to do, every right.
yeah, exactly.
Police brutality
If
is a thing, but
even if
it's
it's
not an epidemic as people say it is. There is plenty of instances that you can find online of police brutalizing somebody else. There's plenty of instances,
like I said,
plenty of stuff like that. But those people we
like I
shame
said,
collectively.
yeah, exactly. And yeah, people from both sides of the spectrum hate racists. It's like racists are a minority. It's not a major movement
Right.
anymore.
Right. No,
it's
no, no,
been
no, no, no.
it's been like 60 years since like the last major banning of white supremacists in the country.
Yeah,
I'm sure there's still a lot of people out there, but they're ignorant.
of
They don't
course.
have like an IQ above 90, or above like 75.
Above like 75. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But
It's just they make it out to be a lot worse than it really is. And then everything else that is worse and that is a huge problem, just brush it, under the rug. Just
exactly.
just, shove it under the bed because they don't want to do that. It doesn't fit their narrative. You and I will talk about it.
Or,
Police
or when
brutality
something
is terrible.
Yeah, or
Of
when something
course.
good happens,
Oh, yeah,
like
when
a bunch of cops go up to like a basketball court and start playing basketball, or
yeah,
show up to
that
like a
stuff
park, or
no nobody cares about it.
start shooting the kids.
Nobody cares about it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like or if someone like a police officer or a fireman rushes into a building and saves someone's life, they don't report that.
Yeah,
It's like
they'll
a
just be
local
like,
news story.
"Oh, Donald Trump tweeted something bad again today,"
Yeah.
and then they're gonna talk an entire hour
They don't
on
give any
live
thought.
TV.
Like,
Yeah,
exactly.
it's
Even on Fox News has kind of done that. Like a few
yeah,
times too. Fox News
plenty
has
of times.
been
I've had times on Fox, like watching Fox News or reading articles on there, and I'm like, "What the heck is this?" Like,
like okay, it's a little
there was something today on
away from
Fox
the
News.
collective.
There was something on Fox News today, and I was like, "What the heck is this?" It was like, we use some of our sources from Fox News. We've used sources on CNN and other things. Fox News isn't
And
our only thing. We use NPR, Fox News, Breitbart. We've used anything.
yeah, exactly. Sometimes CNN actually
It has news.
puts out some good news.
Yes.
And reports on legit stuff. Like no news is fake news, but I'd say CNN is the fakest.
Yeah, they're the epitome of
Yeah,
fake
yeah,
news.
exactly.
Maybe
Or like
MSNBC might be a close second, but they're a little bit
MSNBC is
lesser.
like a reality TV
Basically,
show,
basically,
news station, pretty much.
they're a little
But
bit lesser. CNN's a little bit up there, but
yeah, exactly. I've had a few friends that say, "Oh yeah, BBC is the most unbiased kind of
that is
news
extremely
show news
untrue.
source." And I'm like,
Extremely untrue.
isn't it owned by? Isn't it? It's called the British Broadcasting Channel, right? Or it's
Yeah,
isn't it owned by the government or owned by a company that's pretty close?
pretty close to the
It's
government.
like
I
it's
have
like
no idea.
it's like the CIA running a news channel.
It's Pyongyang.
Yeah, exactly. Pyongyang Channel 4 News here. Food has been distributed again, and obesity rates at an all-time low. Thank God.
What's it called? Speaking of Pyongyang, not really like North Korea, but socialism. Venezuela, the Venezuelan president said for his army to get rifles, missiles, and well-oiled tanks ready
What?
in case the U.S. decides to do anything.
Why do?
Because Trump said that he is um, not turning down the idea of military action in Venezuela because of their.
Isn't it a military coup that happened?
I think there was a failed one, maybe.
The military itself has been kind of fighting, back and forth.
Yeah, but I know that of course, they're having their socialist breakdown because socialism doesn't work. Sorry, let you guys know that doesn't really work.
And Venezuelan socialism is not the purest form of Venezuela.
It's not. We haven't. We need to try it again. That's not real socialism. That's not real socialism.
It's like on Netflix when you're you're watching like a TV series and it's like, hey, do you want to watch the next episode? And you're like, oh yeah, I'll do the next episode.
It doesn't. Socialism doesn't work. It looks great on paper. Like it doesn't work. You put it into practice. Communism is even worse.
Paper or practice, I mean, you could have what? I don't know, it was like 220. They're
Dude,
dead. But
your router just died, and I did not hear a single thing you just said.
There's over 100 million people that can vouch that communism doesn't work.
That's true, because they're all dead. Well, what's the number for Mao? How many people did Mao get killed? Mao killed a bunch.
They have too many people in Asia. You could drive down Main Street in in the capital of some Eastern country, and you'd probably plow down 60 people. So
yeah, but yeah, the Venezuelan government, since they're having their little food shortage. In 1 year, the average weight loss in Venezuela was 19 pounds per person. Per person, 19 pounds.
Till 19 pounds.
How long?
It took me Actually, it took me a whole year to lose 25 pounds, but that was with exercise,
Exercise.
diet, and
That's from them not
yeah,
eating.
exactly. They're just
They're not
starving.
eating. They're starving. The government gave them rabbits to eat, and
God,
some of the people ate them, because it's food.
rabbit stew is pretty good though. I
Yeah,
don't know if I'd do
yeah,
that over and over again.
but they gave some of them rabbits, and then the rest of them took the rabbits, put them up in bow ties, and slept with them at night because they didn't want to eat the rabbit.
No.
So
There's um, economic systems described by cows, and for socialism it says actually for communism. Hold up, where is communism? You have two cows. The state takes both of them and gives you some milk. And then for traditional capitalism is you have two cows, you sell one, buy a bull, and you make a herd of cows. I'm like, but you'd think that would be a little more logical. I mean, just from a logic based standpoint, you'd want people to have their own sort of like fail safe because because if you rely on one source of food and resource, you're bound to
yeah, you're
bound to
bound
fail.
to.
I mean,
It's economics, supply and demand. If the demand is up, where's that supply gonna go? Down the toilet.
there was actually a meme about it was like Bernie Sanders. It was like a 70-year-old like socialist versus some like lines on a chart. It showed like supply and demand. Like,
Mhm.
it's-
My favorite thing is when little kids are socialists,
yeah, it's like
and they're like
I
they're
don't
like
think little kids
socialism is better than
shouldn't have any political view because once they get into a political view, they're miserable.
yeah. Honestly,
Because like
politics has
once
killed
you
me,
start
dude.
like yeah, it's like
I get so
politics
I'm
is
just
like
like I'm like, okay, can it be done? Can politics be done? It's so interesting. It's so
yeah,
good. This is exactly why we do this live stream and all this because it's so interesting, and you learn so much about how the country works, how people work, everything. It's so cool, but it's so just like
but you like
it's
lose
just
friends
yeah.
because you low key like when they're talking about something they're like, oh yeah, Trump's being a bigot and racist, and you're like,
No, he's not.
you get on a
gotta
campfire,
gotta keep.
like have friends. I can't say beer because I'm not even 21 yet. But like you're having a root beer with your friends, and you're like,
A root beer with your
hey,
friends.
so how's that
Cracking open a
NFL game?
cold
Oh,
one with the boys.
it's like
I'm
you're like sitting around a
boycotting.
campfire. You can't even talk about the NFL anymore without politics. You like
It's
you
true.
sit down and watch a game to get away from politics, but just to
Exactly.
manage to kind of whittle in that like one thorn in your side.
Did you watch
Like,
Did you watch some black guy's video on that?
oh, why?
Some black guy, the YouTuber.
Oh no, dude.
Oh, he said the same exact thing. He said the same exact thing. The political tension is really high. Some people just wanna, calm down, watch a nice game of football, and everybody, the fans of those teams can unite and show their support for their team. But now
Yeah,
the NFL is alienating those
some
fans.
bullshit.
They're
That's exactly what
yeah,
it is. Like,
they're alienating those fans, and just basically saying like, you know, we
it's
don't
like
want you guys.
uh,
Basically, like,
I think didn't Kevin Hart say that he didn't want to like talk about politics professionally because he's like I don't want to alienate like 120% of my audience. No, but like
and then he was like, all right.
47% of your yeah exactly.
Well, no, but Kevin Hart was like, I don't want to talk about politics because I don't want to alienate my audience. And then he posted a thing where he was like
Super
saying that
divisive some shit. Yeah.
where he like donated to something Obama was doing and stuff, and it's just like, okay, all right, Kevin, all right, Kevin. I want to find exactly what he said because I saw it today on Instagram, and I was just like, oh man, that's a.
I was like,
I want to see if I liked it. I might have liked it. I
but
don't remember.
it was crazy though. I mean, yeah, I think I started. develop. I When I was in like sixth or seventh grade, I've always kind of. I think that's when I started like developing kind of a. I already kind of knew what I wanted to go into. My mom was a Democrat, and my dad was a Republican,
Hmm.
so I was kind of born to be a centrist anyway.
Right.
So I say that, and I have a "Make America Great Again" sign. But I support Trump. Obviously, you're supposed to support the president
But you
to make
supported him
shit
before.
down. But of course, it's your duty as a citizen to do something. But I've always kind of like had that. You kind of take it from an open-minded standpoint, but don't have your mind so open that your brain falls out and turns to mush. And
Right.
so, like, what's retarded is after I first got into like the social media side of politics, and they're like, talking about like making memes about like just showing you how like contradictory the entire most politics is,
Yeah.
and like the whole LGBT community were like, oh yeah, we love Arabic people, we love Muslims and everything, and I'm like, yeah, like a good portion of Muslims are not, like gonna chop your head off, of course, and I'm sure most Christians aren't gonna have a crusade, and and like but I'm like, it's kind of weird because in the Middle East they're like beheading gay people
Yeah.
and throwing them off of buildings and crap like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why don't you take a step back and just say, hey, I don't want to make a standpoint on that yet. Let's just kind of wait for to kind of chill. I think I got the news today that they had a law passed allowing women to actually drive, which is really cool.
Yeah. That's a big deal.
Why haven't they been able to drive for since the 1950s?
Right. Well,
Um,
I mean, that's like looking at 1970s Iran.
yeah,
It
exactly.
was basically in uh, like a Western culture
Yeah,
until,
you'd have like mind put it, it's not a secular. It was like a secular sort of standpoint on religion and stuff like that.
yeah,
It's kind of
they
weird
were
to
all
see.
still Muslims. They
Yeah,
didn't, but they weren't, this like Sharia based
exactly. Sharia law.
dictatorial society like now they are. You look at Iran and you would never think that, 40 years ago they were close to
Yeah,
like the US. You
well, the
would
women were
never
wearing
think that.
skirts and
They
they
were wearing
had they
skirts,
had
bikinis,
they had squats
they
on.
had skirts on, they had bikinis on.
Yeah, exactly.
But
And
yeah,
like, I would love to go to the Middle East and go to the beach. Like that would be pretty legit. Like
yeah,
Saudi Arabia, I heard like they have some parts of Saudi Arabia that are just really rich, and they have a lot of like really cool hotels you can go to. What's it? I don't think this is in Iran or Iraq or anything, but a lot of the actual like areas of the Middle East are really cool to go to. There's a lot of
yeah,
art history there. There's
yeah,
a lot of like that was a breadbasket of culture
yeah,
of the human race,
yeah,
and like that's where agriculture kind of like originated. Other than New World was kind of like its own little thing, but I'm they ruin it, and then they go into like mausoleums, and they go into museums, and they just tear
they
down like works
destroy
of
it.
art and crap like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's what pisses me off the most. But I don't care if you kill each other. I don't. I mean, it's kind of. I don't care if you go to war with me and crap like that. But once you destroy a piece of history,
Yeah,
that doesn't just belong to your country. That belongs to, I'd say, or Western culture, that for that matter too, and even for African culture too, like the Egyptians, and I'd say like the early Arabic culture, and
right,
like even Jewish descent, Christian descent, always all goes back to the Middle
right.
East, and I'm like, that's what gets me heated the most about it. But
I feel that it's like the same thing with the Charlottesville statues and any statue.
yeah,
It's the statue is erected to like commemorate our history, basically.
yeah, exactly. Like there was a conflict behind that statue, and that person represented an opposing side of the conflict. You can't turn into Germany after the World War II and say, oh yeah,
After
everyone
World
from
War One.
1938 to 19 oh yeah, sorry, no, World War II actually. They were saying everyone from 1939 to 1946, 47, everyone just left. There was nothing happened during World War II. You know, like
Right.
they're like trying to cover up the Nazi shit and everything.
Yeah.
Like that happened. Like you
I
can't.
mean, like,
That didn't happen.
I'm not saying go.
You.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not saying go and erect a Hitler statue.
Oh yeah.
But like,
If you want to erect a Hitler statue, put that in your museum.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
doesn't belong
But
in the
like
streets.
the South, that's part of the South's history, and it's not like it was some, you know, oppressive regime that killed 6 million people just because they believed that they were,
Exactly.
bad. Of course, they had slaves, and slavery was terrible. I'm not saying that slavery was good or
The South
anything
wasn't
at
even
the
going to
slightest
war for states for
for
slavery.
slavery.
They were going for states' rights, and they didn't
And
agree.
slavery,
They didn't.
slavery was one of the states' rights, but slavery wasn't like, oh, you're taking away my slavery. Goodbye, we're leaving the union. That was just like
Right.
one of the
It's kind of
packaged in. It was like one of the packaged in
part of like the internet package
things,
that you got
basically.
with
Exactly. You
uh,
have that channel on your TV that like
the 3/5 person
that
channel.
that's like that's pretty bad. It's like
Exactly.
it's
I,
packaged in with your TV. Some people use it, other people don't. Other people don't want it at all. Other people really want it, but like
only
it
the
comes with
aristocrats of
it.
the
It
time
comes
period.
with it. Yeah, it comes with it, and you're like, okay, yeah, and just think the I want to go back in time for the senators and representatives that erected those statues. What party did they come from?
What party did they come from?
The Democratic Party.
Oh shit!
The Democratic Party is,
As a
they're
particular
afraid of
or
their own history,
yeah,
and so
exactly.
then they pin it on us for being
I was
the
watching
white Southerners.
I was watching a Politicon debate between the guy that made the founder of Turning Point USA
Yeah,
and I forgot it was one to do. Is it Hassan from the Young Turks? I think he's got like a beard. He's got like a pretty thin black beard, and he's got like the shaved sides with a really tall hair on the top.
don't know. I just know Chink.
And yeah, and they had a conversation, and they're like, um, they're talking about, oh yeah, conservatism isn't really a on camp, on camp like college campuses, how there was always been a controversial idea that's being passed, or like the civil rights movement kind of out on college campuses, like UC Berkeley. Like there
Yeah,
was always those people
freedom of
that like
speech.
had the signs out saying like freedom of speech. They're like they want that the entire civil rights movement kind of originated from
Yeah,
this
the
like
college
peace and
civil
love
rights
kind of.
movement
Yeah, exactly.
started from UC
Yeah,
Berkeley,
exactly.
and it ended with
Yeah,
UC
exactly.
Berkeley.
But nowadays they're like, hey, we have the academia that is like 90% liberal, and I have no nothing against that. It's just fact. That's just what happens. Most
Yeah,
people go through a liberal arts. You have to go through the large degree to get into that position in the first place. Like, but the thing is, if you're a doctor and you go through that system, you don't come out the other end. You don't come out the other end with a political idea or ideology. Or they should kind of, this is a side note, they should kind of like keep politics out of the classroom. They should really, the teacher should be as centrist as possible.
yeah,
Of course, there's going to be some sort of bias because everyone's biased. I mean, I'm
of
biased.
course.
Everyone's
Yeah,
biased.
even
Um,
yeah,
you can we're biased, but uh, the guy that was from the Young Turks said that um, like conservatism isn't really that popular and it's more controversial like ideology on
right.
college campuses. And there's people like Milo Yiannopoulos and Ben Shapiro, and they get turned down
Kellyanne
from these.
Conway, yeah,
What's her face? Ann Coulter.
and
I don't really
Coulter,
like Ann Coulter too much,
yeah,
but they go into these like, but they have the right to speak, obviously, of course. But when these what should we call it, education like centers of learning, pretty much, and free speech, like turn down these people. It's I wouldn't equate it, but it's as if you're turning down a controversial idea. And as he said, wouldn't turning down like I was like, isn't the Civil Rights Act or it wasn't the Civil Rights Movement controversial at the time?
Yeah.
And I'm like, would you stop a civil rights speaker from speaking at like a campus and crap like that? I was like, I thought we already kind of established that, like 50 years ago that we should kind of have like a mixture of people of like
Yeah. Everybody has
thought,
different
not just how
thoughts.
you look.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And the what colleges are talking about or what we're looking for, they always want people that look different. Of course, they want a certain quota for Asians, they want a certain quota for white people, they want a certain quota for black people, blah 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 blah, which kind of separates, which tears an even deeper racial divide in America,
Yeah.
which of course, and then they kind of brush under the carpet that there should be a diverse like thought, like a diverse like like viewpoints on everything. And
Right.
you go back in time to the Greeks, they even understood that there should be a diverse, point of view for thought. They were the founders of free thinking,
Right.
and
Basically.
yeah, exactly. And they're like, hey, you can't really have a democracy or you can't really have a society of free speech when you're telling people not to speak.
Yeah.
So get really hard for them to speak. Where they're doing the Milo Yiannopoulos, they're charging them like $46,000 for security fees, and I'm like, why would you want to do that when you could just have people that are not going to riot come to to come to the speaking, and predominantly the people that are rioting are from the Liberal Party or they're
Correct.
from the Democratic Party, which always gets me every time. Like you have this party that is so open to tolerance and love and peace, but
To
then
their own.
oh,
They're
but yet
open
to
to
their own
tolerance
people.
to their own.
Yeah, as long as
Yeah.
you look different from me, but you think different or you think the same as me, I love you. But if you if you don't share the same views as me, of course,
Yeah.
you know, I'm gonna kick you out of my university.
Yeah. I
I'm
saw
gonna
this.
ban you from my university.
I saw this good meme. This is a while ago, like probably a couple years ago, and it's not like this big. It's not like this big like thing, but it's more of like a theory, I guess to say, that Democrats, liberals, whatever you want to call them, leftists, they believe that um, they want you to think like them, but then conservatives and Republicans just want you to think.
Yeah, exactly. They want to open your mind to
Yeah.
possibility. I mean, the conservatives are like, hey, I want you to. I'm not a conservative. I'm a centrist. I'm a right-wing centrist,
Right.
more so. But being on the right, just being logical. Period. Being a logical
Basically,
human
it's
being.
more
You want
being
people to open
logical.
the mind to. Yeah, exactly. They want you to open up your mind to. If I'm Catholic, so say I'm Catholic, diehard Catholic, and say blah 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 blah. I believe in Jesus, and nothing's gonna change my mind. And then someone walks up to me and says, "Hey, maybe you should think about this, that, and the other thing. Open your mind to other possibilities." That's when you, as a logical human being, says, "Hey, maybe I'm not 100% right on this, that, and the other thing."
Right.
Um, anything that any religion is wrong or whatever. I'm just saying that if you have a point of view and you kind of like just close everything else up
Yeah.
and then only listen to your one-sided argument all the time, you're only going to believe your one-sided argument all the time.
Right.
So
What I was also thinking, I came up with a good analogy. Let's just say you're at a car dealership and you're looking for a used car, and you're like, okay, here's two choices. We got a red car and a blue car. Let's just say that means Republican Party, Democrat Party, or conservative, liberal. Okay, you got those two cars, and you're like, all right, which car should I be looking at? All right, you got one car.
one that doesn't, blah blah blah.
You got what?
One that doesn't cost as much.
Yeah, you got one that doesn't cost as much. One that looks better, and you've got two friends that are both saying, "Hey, get this car, get that car." You're torn between a decision, It's not like that one person's gonna say, "Hey, buy this car, or else something's gonna happen to you." This other person's saying, "Dude, just like take a look at this car, test drive it. You know,
And if you don't like it,
if you don't like it, then go over to that other
and then
car."
there's and then
The
there's
other
the
person's
absolute
like, "Buy,
libertarian
yeah."
that buys a motorcycle.
That's true. That's true. But then that blue car, they're like, "Hey, buy this car because that's what all the cool people do is they have this car. Don't test drive it. Don't look into it. Don't look at the reviews on this car. Buy this car right now." Like saying like, "Trust me, you're gonna love this car." Or would you rather just go to the person with the red car that's just like, test drive it, look into it, come back this dealership. Let's use the dealer. You're at two different dealerships, the blue car and the red car, and that dealer is trying to sell you the blue car and the red car, and the dealer at the red car is like, test drive it, take it home for the day. If you're like Volkswagen, how they let you take the car home for a day, test drive it now. Look at the reviews. Watch some videos on it. Yeah, and then come back. Make a decision. If you decide that you don't want that car, bring it right on back. We'll pay for the gas. We'll do all that stuff. Totally fine. You don't have to call us back. You don't have to worry about it. You're out. You're okay. You don't like the car, and the other person's like, you should buy this car because you see how many cars are driving on the road. Go buy this car.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not calling because they're assholes. I'm jealous of libertarians because they just kind of have a step back on the two-party system. They're like, hey, there's these guys over here and these guys over here that are constantly fighting over and over again.
Right.
And there's us, like say I'm a libertarian. And then there's us that's just like sitting here watching them bicker all the time, and we actually have some good views, and no one listens to us.
Right. Right.
Like it's kind of sad that the libertarian vote has become this wasted vote. Like
yeah, now there's no point in voting third party.
I'm pretty sure that classical liberals would actually look at the Libertarian Party and be like, "Hey, maybe."
Yeah,
maybe,
Yeah,
and
probably. But everybody's stuck on the two-party system. I don't agree with a lot of Republicans. I would probably say I am a Republican. I'm registered Republican, and I probably would say but I probably would say I am a Republican. Yeah. But I don't agree
because I want to do the primaries. That's
right. Yeah, I don't agree with every Republican at all. There's plenty of things Donald Trump says that I don't agree with, and I like Donald Trump, and there's plenty of things I don't agree with, and just like the House Speaker Paul Ryan, there's a lot of things with him I don't agree on. John McCain, I don't like at all. I don't like John McCain, and he's a Republican, and he ran he was the presidential nominee for the Republican Party in 2008.
Exactly.
It's like it doesn't. You having an R next to your name doesn't have any phase next to me. If you say the stuff I like to hear, then then I'll agree with you. If I agree with you, then I agree with you. I'm not going to be like, oh, he's a Republican. This guy's a Democrat. Let's say that Democrat's like, the blah blah blah, something I agree with. I can't really think of something.
I think the Democrat I would have voted for, like firsthand, would be John F. Kennedy, of course. What's crazy is John F. Kennedy has more Republican views that line up with today, than the Republicans do now. He has like more conservative views that would be more like that would be certified conservative views, I would say, than some conservatives do nowadays, which is kind of shows you how far the pendulum has kind of swung in another like dimension, pretty much, of politics, where the section. There's always like a new frontier for Republicans. There's always a new frontier for Democrats to work on a new policy. And
we got a little breaking news, boys. Hugh Hefner just died.
Hugh Hefner
just died. Did you get a notification?
I just get the notification? Was that from the Fox News?
Yeah, it just popped up on my phone.
What?
Hugh Hefner died.
Hold up. Latest news. Zuckerberg versus Zuck versus Trump.
Yo, Mark, give me the Zuck.
Zuck. He's like, hey guys, what does that mean?
What does that mean? What does that mean, guys? Can somebody tell me what this Zuck thing means?
Zuck mean?
He's so out of touch. But yeah, Hugh Hefner died right now on the stream.
Yeah. Dang.
Owner of Playboy.
What's his face?
He was 91.
To the front door of his house in like a bathrobe. Guy's got like money sticking out of his pockets, out of his like bathrobe. You walk into the guy's bathroom, he has got like $100 bills wrapped up.
True.
But
you know what my favorite like commercial ever is? This is a little off topic. My favorite commercial is the like early 2000s or late 90s Pizza Hut commercial with Donald Trump in it.
God.
Have you seen that one?
There was a pull up.
Yeah.
Donald Trump.
Pizza Hut. He was in a Pizza Hut commercial.
I've seen this before.
Yeah, and he ate the pizza backwards.
On the stream?
I mean, probably can. I just have to spend some time to try to get this up. That's his ex-wife.
Yeah, I was like, it kind of looks like Melania almost.
That's another one of his many wives. Yeah, he eats the. It's just because of the cheesy crust. Yeah, it's kind of cringy.
And I support Donald Trump.
Donald, not Donald. Donald Trump.
Yeah.
I cannot type today. Trump.
Oh, what?
Did you heard the meme?
No, the very end, where he says when his wife says, "Can I have the last slice?"
Yeah.
What last slice?
No, shh, don't waste it. Don't spoil it. Don't spoil it. Don't spoil it. Oh my lord! It just wouldn't let me copy it. Command C.
Yo, the large back then was only $9.99.
Inflation, dude.
Yeah, now it's like $30. Or it's like it's like $16 for a large pizza. But like, what? God. Gas prices were like 5 cents back then too.
Yeah, true. All right, this commercial is from 1995. Yeah. See if I can make this a little bit easier to see. I'm just gonna put it up in the stream. Hopefully we don't get copyrighted for it. We probably will, but
I mean, it's a Pizza Hut ad from 1995.
Yeah, but the only thing is like I can't like trim this down. So I'm just gonna have the browser basically open up in here. It's just here you go.
Okay. Oh, wow. Right. Can you put it on full screen, maybe?
Yes, we eat our pizza the wrong way.
Yeah, this is.
You'll want to eat it the wrong way. Crust first.
May I have the last slice?
Actually, you're only entitled to half.
Oh my gosh, I love him. So great.
Oh God.
Did you see it on there? Is the audio playing?
You're entitled to half.
You're
entitled to half, right?
It's so funny.
Damn.
I remember the first time I saw that.
He had a prenuptial agreement with her, and they got into a divorce, like everything.
But yeah, fun times. But yeah, we kind of got a little off topic off of NFL, but.
Well, I mean, Trump is a sportsman player. He, what was he in the WWE?
Yeah, that's true. He's a famous wrestler.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's a world famous wrestler. What was his weight class? His height is like
He's like
6'4".
6'4", yeah. He's probably like 2 something, 250 probably. He's a pretty big guy, but
Thick.
he's a thick guy, yeah. Have you seen him in his tennis shorts?
You know, wear something like different.
Can you wear something a little bit, less revealing than that? A little
You can't-
Donny
it's
boy.
funny, though, because he's actually wearing pants. That's like the least revealing.
That's true.
He's wearing a pair of shorts. That's like
Pair
one
of
of the
shorts.
least revealing things. But he's so
Not for
thick.
him.
He's so voluptuous. It's kind of like.
It's so good. So good. But yeah, I think the stream, probably won't go on for much longer. We talked about a lot. But yeah, I think we're gonna say some more stuff about when we'll decide to schedule the next thing. We'll post it on the Instagram. So if you're not following the Instagram, if you kind of just showed up here, which you probably didn't, all the stuff is right there. You see it all up and down the side of the screen. For our Instagram, Twitter, Patreon, Facebook, other side.
I don't know if
You're right. Yeah,
There you go.
yeah, right over there. All that stuff. Click on those things, and then it'll be lit. That's the Twitter. Go up a little higher is Instagram. That's Twitter. Go up a little higher. A little bit more. You're like halfway in between. A little bit more. That's the Instagram. Right there. That's the Instagram.
There should be one that's right above that. That's my Instagram.
No, we're not doing just your... That's the American flag. Ain't nobody sitting for that. But yeah, so thanks for watching, guys. And I guess we'll see you guys in the next stream.
Mine's the best, of course.
Yeah, sure. Sure. All right. We'll see you guys.
All right.
I hit start and then stop.
Hey.
All right, or stop then start, I mean.